Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second episode of The Big Word with Ngullie. I'm your host, Ngullie. The issue of illegal immigration in Nagaland continues to be highly divisive and contentious. Way back in 2012, reports said there were about 4 lakh illegal immigrants in Nagaland. Another report in 2018 quoted 80,000 to 1 lakh. We don't know. What we know is this: illegal immigrants are one of the biggest challenges in the way of Nagaland's socio-political and cultural identity. During the 12th session of the 13th Nagaland Legislative Assembly, one legislator sounded this warning: tackle it early. Kuzholuzo Nienu, co-chairman of the UDA coalition government in Nagaland and leader of the NPF Legislative Party, is here with us today. This is his warning: Nagaland can become the second Tripura of Northeast India. Thank you for coming and joining us here in the show, Mr. Nienu. It's good to have you here. You look very, young.
Thank you.
The last time we talked, I think it was way back in 2008. And I still remember what you said during that time. The Nagas have very good immune system.
Right.
And we can tide over any diseases. It was during the time the SARS epidemic was going on.
That time I was health minister.
You were health minister.
Yeah, holding the portfolio of health and family welfare.
I see. How do you keep fit?
I do exercises every morning. I drink a lot of warm water. And I eat less in the evening.
Some of the viewers are going to say, okay, this guy looks younger than the guy interviewing him.
Okay.
Yeah. So during the 12th Legislative Assembly session, you were very vocal about illegal immigrants flowing into Nagaland. And of course, there was also a little bit of criticism against, not really against the government, but you pointed out some loopholes in the system. What was the reason that you decided, after 50 years of ILB in Nagaland, you decided to say, hey, we're going to tackle this issue? What was the reason that you felt you needed to say this in the assembly?
This illegal immigrant issue, not only the last assembly, when I was the MLA during 2003, maybe I was perhaps one of the youngest MLAs, or at that time I was the first timer.
I see.
The NSF came and met me regarding this issue.
I see.
From that day, from time to time, I used to raise it in the government level, in the assembly level.
Okay.
But this time around, I raise it as a star question because of my concern while going through an old newspaper.
Okay.
I was fiddling with some newspapers, and in last year's May report, 2021 report, when there was partial lockdown, the ILPs issued and the renewals of ILP issued came to around nearly 12 lakhs. At that point of time when there were partial lockdown. So I thought the government was sleeping over this issue for a long period. And now that there is no more corona, there is no more lockdowns. I put up a question as to how much ILPs has been issued for this year.
And how many?
And it came to around maybe renewals and both fresh ones came to around nearly, say, 17,000. So that is a very drastic improvement from the government side. So I appreciated the government for checking on the ILP issue, issuing new ILPs and also renewals. So I think the government of the day is also woken up on this issue.
Okay. So 12,000 ILPs during the pandemic, 2021?
2021, it was 12 lakhs.
12 lakhs.
New permits and renewals came to around 12 lakhs in the month of May 2021. So that caught my eye. And I thought now, since 1 year has passed, government might be sleeping over this issue. So in order to catch the government, I had put up a star question. And when the answers came, I was quite surprised because there was drastic improvement. It came to only 17,000 from January till date.
I see. But still then, considering that Nagaland is a very small state, and then you have about 2 million, almost like a little over 2 million people residing here, and when we have at least, let's say, take the 12 lakhs for over a period of at least 5 years or 10 years, it is still a lot.
Very large, very large.
You pointed out the threats in the assembly, right?
Yeah. You see, if we keep on sleeping on this issue, our future generation will be in a lot of problem, because illegal immigrants will overpopulate the Nagas. And tomorrow, as I stated in the assembly, Nagaland will become another Tripura.
Yeah, we noted that, especially when we're writing this press script too. So now, like
especially a place like Dimapur district, a cosmopolitan city or a metropolitan city, whatever you call it, is a breeding ground for illegal immigrants. There are a lot of people who have ILPs, but there are more people without ILPs. And the government also has no mechanism to check because of the border issue. We have an imaginary border, imaginary line border with government of Assam, but we don't have fenced borders. We don't have brick walling borders. So illegal immigrants come into our state from all corners, and there we cannot blame the government also, or nor the police or the administration, because we don't have that much power to control the border, isn't it?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. So what you're suggesting is here, when you say that the government is not to be blamed, even the police is not to be blamed. Okay, I give you that. But then again, if the ILP system is still in place and 12 lakh illegal immigrants come in legally, then how does it change the demographic again? Even if they are if they are immigrants with legal papers. How does it?
That way, if they are legally authorized to stay here, the demography will change. That's what I'm saying.
So what you're suggesting is remove the ILP?
No.
And then put enforcement?
Well, you see, we need to have a political will.
I'll give it.
The government needs to come out with strong, stringent laws which can be enforced. One is, we have lots of false documents. Documents need to be checked. ILPs need to be checked from time to time. Deportation has to be taken place. And even the NGOs need to be woken up on this issue.
I give you that.
But the main problem is, if we threaten them also, if we use gun also, nothing will happen. Our mindset and our attitude, our behavior, our approaches should change. And that mindset is Nagas. We need to know the dignity of labor. Because why they come? It's because they get easy employments.
True. I give you that. True.
Be it in your agriculture fields, be it in business, be it in your construction works, be it in anywhere, they are employed. In Nagaland, we talk about unemployment problem. From here, I tell you, there is no such thing called unemployed problem.
Yeah, I agree.
There are so many jobs where we can take up, but Nagas look only for white-collar job, that is government jobs.
High
and they
positions.
don't go for these nitty-gritty things.
They don't.
With construction workers, field workers, your domestic helps. Then the skilled labor, unskilled labor. For example, let's talk about gobbler, barber, thelawala, rickshawala, autowala. See, Nagas don't want to enter to these fields. So these are lying vacant. So because of these, they come.
That is true. That is true. So basically, what you're saying is, as soon as the Naga youth demographics, especially if they start working and taking over the sectors, even if it's a small job,
we will not threaten them. They will just leave.
They'll just leave.
They'll just leave a state saying that there is no job in Nagaland. There is no need to stay there. They'll just go back. But as long as these jobs are vacant, people will continue to flock in.
That is true. I agree with you. I think it was during the time of Chief Secretary Lautara or Laluma. I think it was 2005. You might be in the government during the time.
Yes, I was 2005. I was a health minister.
Yeah, so it was during the time that the government issued. I think it was a research paper, not research paper. Sorry, an administrative report, where they say that about 480 crores annually are being funneled outside by laborers who are non-Nagas.
That's true. That's true.
So how do you think like the youth can be encouraged to engage in jobs which are not white collar jobs, big positions, SP and DSP and deputy commissioner? Instead of doing all that, how do you encourage them that they should start tilling the field or sweeping the streets? How do you suggest?
It is very hard to convince them. We need to educate them further that these are also good jobs. You need to earn your livelihood in a right manner, not through extortion. You see, our national workers and national groups is another encouragement for illegal immigrants to come. The lazy people like me, Nagas, I am also one lazy human being. We don't want to go into these hard-working jobs. We go where there is easy money. And so when they don't want to go into these jobs, they go into the undergrounds or say national work. They become national workers. They go into extortion, isn't it? Multiple taxation, threat, intimidation.
I've heard of that.
They earn their livelihood in that manner. So they don't want to go in these jobs which they think it's quite filthy or people look down at them. That's one reason. So what I'm saying is our approach needs to be changed. Our mindset needs to be changed.
I see. So basically what you're saying is it starts from the family.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it a family?
You have correctly stated it. Start from each and every family, every community.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Getting back to the question of illegal immigrants here, I think it was raised during the assembly session. I think it was the Home Minister, Mr. Wiyantongo Patton, who said that I think out of about 10,000 ILP holding persons, I think about 20 were deported. Is that true?
No.
20?
No, not 20.
How come it will be 20?
I forgot the figure.
But it wasn't a big number, right?
It was not a very big number. Okay. But nevertheless, the ILPs issued and the renewals also came to only 17,000.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of an improvement, like you say.
It's a huge improvement.
But then again, Mr. Nienu here, I'm just concerned here. Let's say like we have got only about 17,000 persons with ILP. So that's a very low number if you consider it in lakhs, 17 lakhs.
Yeah, if you compare with the other years, it's very low.
Okay. So what do you think led to this? What led to this improvement? Because we still use the old system, like you said, we don't have border fences there. We don't have enforcement there. So what led to this improvement? How can we learn this from this?
That I think the government would be a better agency to answer that.
Okay. But I'm just interested because I think you've been in the government for four terms. Three terms since 2003. Right, 2003 and 2008, 2013 and 2018. So you have been, you're one of the senior-most leaders in the Nagaland government, and you have been there for a very, very long time. I think you know the sight and sounds and smells of the corridors of the government about illegal immigrants when we talk about this issue. So do you think that the ILP system is strong enough to actually resolve this issue?
No. Besides that,
how weak is it, or?
I will not say it is strong enough, but I will not say it is very weak enough also. You see, the problem here is the implementation part.
Okay.
We are not very serious in the implementation part. Or if we implement in right earnest, I think this is also a very strong weapon to check the influx of illegal immigrants. But as I already stated in the assembly, another gray area is, are illegal immigrants coming into the business sectors? This is one very serious area. Now, business permits should be restricted.
Okay.
Now the house owners also need to be aware that as far as possible, their house rent should not be given to non-locals.
Okay.
So there are a lot of ways and means. Then the other area is, this intermarriage. We Nagas marrying into a non-local.
Yeah, you raised that issue.
Yeah. Then marrying into a Naga family. They take the name of the Nagas. Then from there they start possessing properties, buildings, lands, and so on and so forth. So those who are going unchecked. For that, there is a large increase in illegal immigrants. And when they become our family, we Nagas, we are emotional. We always have this strong family bondage where we cannot go against them. Even though we know that they have started occupying our land, business, everything, we don't go against them. And most of the business, I tell you, as far as Dimapur is concerned, 80% of the businesses belongs to non-locals.
Yeah, a large.
But when you check, you'll find none again, because in the papers, it belongs to the Naga's name.
Yeah, I think it was reported in local media about that.
And under a Naga's name, they own all the properties, but in reality, no Nagas own.
Okay, I'm just curious, Mr. Nienu here. The ILP system, a person comes in and becomes someone who has legal entry here because he was given a document, he was given the ILP. So now, if I give like 20,000 ILPs to 20,000 people coming in from outside, then doesn't it mean that the ILP system is actually the one causing this? Because the only way, I think, is to remove the whole thing.
No, you see, ILP is given for a certain period.
I say, okay.
Maybe say 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. Now, once the ILP is given, it goes unchecked. That's why.
Oh, unchecked.
It starts increasing. But if we check these ILPs every day, then the government also can increase its revenue, because your permit is for 2 months, but you have overstayed. Now government can check, can fine you, can deport you.
Okay.
So if we use it in a proper manner, to some extent we can solve this problem and check it. But it goes unchecked. Issuing artillery to the issues, but their overstay, nobody checks.
You see, but how will they do? Especially the police workforce, they will be the ones enforcing all this, right? So how will they know that a person has gone missing? Unless they are going to the records and they find, hey, this is expired, so we'll have to find that person.
No, that can be checked. You see,
I say,
once you're given 3 months permit, within the 3 months permit, you have to return that paper. Isn't it? Your ILP permit.
I say.
But is there a returning system? A system has to be created. Then if there is a return system created, then the police, the authorities who are issuing the ILP, they will know how much is going and coming.
Do they know?
Missing. That I don't know. That I have to ask the administration.
Okay, excuse me. Because if I've seen it with my own eyes. Money exchanging things at gates, and when we used to be when we used to go home to go from our homes to our hostels, we used to pass these gates, and we have seen it with our eyes too. So how will the government actually strengthen the system by actually going in for the people who are at the ILP tables, who are working the paperwork? How can you strengthen the system, the ILP system, by ensuring accountability at the offices where ILPs are issued, or where they know that persons have gone missing, so you have to go find them? How can you ensure accountability?
To strengthen it, government should create a certain limit per day. Such only this much can be issued.
I say.
Then they should check the expiry. Then they should also deport those who have crossed their expiry period. And over and above, government alone does not have that manpower
I see.
So I think now NGOs also need to come in and support the government in this checking of ILPs.
I see. But then again, like you have pointed out earlier, I think our communities are actually the ones encouraging.
Very much. It is you and me.
So how do you garner their support?
You see, for example, I have a paddy field.
Okay.
No Nagas want to work. I have to import these people to work at my paddy field.
Yeah, yeah.
And I keep them forever without ILP. So I'm also responsible. So now what I have to do is, if I am to check this, every individual should limit people from coming, and once they do their job, they should be deported, they should go, or report to the police.
So will it affect the state's exchequer? I'm sure money goes into this. You need logistics, you need resources.
No, it will not. In fact, it will improve the state exchequer.
Oh, I see.
Because now you permit, supposing it's 100.
How I want to know that.
Supposing, it's just a suppose case, okay?
Okay.
Supposing you want an ILP, ordinary permit for 1 month. The government is issuing with 100 rupees. Why don't you increase it to 500?
Oh, okay.
You're asking for a business permit. Business permit may cost you around 1,000.
Okay.
Why don't you increase it to 2,000-3,000?
Okay.
That way it'll help increase the state economy, exchequer.
So actually what you're saying is we don't want any just simple illegal immigrants. We want only a little bit higher standing business type of illegal immigrants.
No, not actually.
Because 3,000 sounds a lot.
But this business also should be for a short period.
Okay.
Not to come here and start a permanent business.
Okay.
So you see, as I was saying, every individual is responsible, house owners, and every Nagas, because the house owners, I want to rent my house to the non-locals only, because they pay on time. That's one factor. The other factor is they pay more rent. The other factor is, in a Naga name, they're running the business.
Is there any way the government can go against people who use Naga names?
Yes, we can bring a law.
How do you find them? Do you prosecute the person in whose name the business is, or the one running behind it?
Both should be prosecuted.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the government wouldn't do that, right?
The
frankly,
government can, if it has a political win.
I see.
We can always bring in rope in stringent, strong laws and enforce it.
So you're basically saying that we need the legislation for this, right?
Yeah, we need it.
So, okay. Before we get to the legislation part, I'll just link back our conversation to something you said about community support here, and how if we educate them, somehow it will make the problem less aggravating. So now, you're building a house, Mr. Nienu. You're building a big house, and now you say, okay, no more non-locals workers from outside Nagaland. I need only Nagas or indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland who are workers who will work on my building. You don't have any Naga workers or indigenous inhabitant workers who are skilled in machinery or building houses. Where do you get them?
That's the problem. That's why I'm saying. That's why we need to train our people to become skilled laborers.
So is the government like in a position to actually muster up resources to train our youths in, let's say, building houses or making fisheries?
Of course, we can do that.
We can do that.
Of course.
I mean, I think this has been done before.
The problem is, will the Nagas come forward?
Okay, I give you that. You win there. You win there. So now talking about legislation. So there have been conversations on social media also. If the government can actually come up with a legislation, then I think it will have a lot more impact than it'll be enforcement, not issuance, enforcement. So how do you say, I mean, like, you're a member of the government.
No.
So have you thought about that?
If the government brings up a law, legislation, it is 100% is going to help. Because law is binding. And when it is enforced, people obey it. but we bring up laws which are not enforced. That's where there are loopholes. Now we have some certain regulations under ILP also. If we follow that, to some extent, we can check illegal immigration.
So, I mean,
the system, the loophole is there is no group which takes up seriousness in checking the ILP defaulters. Now you go around Dimapur, for example, you check around 100 non-locals. I can frankly tell you there'll be around 9 to 10 non-locals who have their ILP. 80 will not be having their ILP. But no one is checking them. They're free to roam, isn't it?
So after you talked about this issue,
the deporting system has to be strengthened.
Oh, okay. So which means more resources from the government?
Yeah, you need more resources. You need more manpower.
Okay.
Yeah, to do that.
So now that we don't have, you're saying that.
And also, I'm sorry, I have cut in your word. The entry points also has to be checked.
Entry points,
yeah,
along the borders,
very important.
Especially with Assam.
Yeah, with Assam. From Manipur side it doesn't come. From Myanmar side it doesn't come. It's only from Assam.
From Assam.
Yeah.
So in regard to this, I think there would be an interstate. I mean, some kind of an interstate mechanism to actually check this, right? Which means talking to the Chief Minister of Assam, for example. There will be a lot of government procedures involved here. So how do you think the government of Nagaland will be able to achieve that?
I think to check ILP, we don't need to talk to the other state government.
I see.
It is within our powers itself.
The ILP is not enough. Of course, we can implement it to some point, but it's still not enough. We need a lot more than that. For example, we need a checking mechanism. So now, is there any way you can strengthen it?
Deporting mechanism.
Deporting mechanism. Like, so is there any way you can actually include more riders within the current ILP system through legislation? Strengthen it. For example, instating a separate agency for deportation, a separate logistical department. Like, can you insert new statutory riders in that?
Of course.
So why is the government not doing that?
Right now, we are running an all-party government for the interest of Naga political issue only. So I don't take full part in the government. So I cannot, I don't want to give comments on that. But of course, if the government has a political will, they can come up with a separate ILP department. And I think that will be the need of the hour at the moment. Or our future will be at stake.
No, but you're an influential member of the government. You're the co-chairman of the UD, yeah? So I think you, like I said before, you know the sight and sounds of it. So anyway, yeah, talking about legislation again, including illegal immigrants. Do you think if, like, next time you come to power where you're in a place, in a platform of function to use your powers in regard to illegal immigrations, like, will you do something about
that
it?
Was what
will you come
I
up
wanted
with a
to
bill?
tell you. That was what I was coming to. Now we have very little time. And with solution approaching and also with election approaching at the same time, I think we will not have enough time to legislate anything. But yes, God willing, if we be in the government again, we will take it up in right earnest.
Now I find it very interesting. One last question. You mentioned that the elections are coming, but you also mentioned that there is an expectation for a solution to the Naga political issue. Will there be an election, Mr. Nienu?
Oh, that's an interesting question. You see, I already stated, me and my party, that's NPF, and also representing the UDA government as the co-chairman, our priority is solution and not election.
Not election.
We're looking forward to solution.
I see. So no elections?
Yeah. But nevertheless, one thing we must remember is election is a democratic process. election is a constitutional provision and election is imminent. So once notification is given and election is imposed, we may have no option but to go for election.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Solution or no solution?
See, solution or no solution we may have to face. But this, I think the UDA partners, that is the NDPP, BJP and NPF, will have to take a collective decision. But anybody who wants to stop us from going to election, they should talk to Government of India. They should approach ECI so that notification is not given and election is not imposed. Or else if it is imposed as a party, we will have no option.
No option.
We don't want to create another episode like 98. Right?
I remember.
Yeah, where our party was badly betrayed. That time I was a college student, of course, but I know the story, and our Kok party did not participate, whereas the other parties participated and they took over the government in the year 1998, I believe.
In the next show, we're going to talk about this betrayal.
Please, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nienu, for joining us here. And like I said, we're going to have more shows on this, and certainly we're going to talk about a lot about the betrayal too.
Thank you.
Kuzholuzo Nienu, ladies and gentlemen, who is not ready to sheath his sword as long as illegal immigrants continue to be the invisible rudder steering Nagaland's ship toward ruin. You have heard his concerns, you have heard his warning. Resolution to the issue requires more than the government. It needs the community and the people. Thank you for watching. I'm Ngullie. See you next time.